The Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, is the nation's official scorekeeper for the economy. Founded in 1884, the BLS has a long history of tracking the economic pulse of the United States, providing vital information that helps us understand how the country is doing financially. It doesn't make policy or laws, it simply collects, analyzes, and shares essential economic data. The BLS acts as a neutral observer, gathering facts and figures from across the nation, and then making sense of them for everyone from lawmakers to everyday citizens. Every month, the BLS tells us how many jobs were created or lost, what the unemployment rate is, and how fast prices are rising. It also tracks wages, hours worked, and even workplace injuries, painting a detailed picture of the American workforce and economy. These numbers shape decisions by the Federal Reserve, businesses, and the government itself. Policymakers rely on BLS data to set interest rates, plan budgets, and respond to economic challenges. When the BLS releases its jobs report, financial markets react, and the political narrative can shift instantly. Investors, journalists, and politicians all pay close attention to these reports, knowing they can influence everything from stock prices to election debates. The agency's credibility depends on its independence and nonpartisan staff. BLS employees are experts in their fields, dedicated to accuracy and transparency, regardless of political winds. The BLS commissioner serves a fixed 4-year term to shield the agency from political pressure. This leadership structure helps protect the integrity of the data and the agency's mission. This structure is designed to ensure public trust. The data must be impartial, regardless of who's in power. The BLS's reputation for fairness is essential for its role in democracy. The facts reported by the BLS are the foundation for national debates and economic decisions. From wage negotiations to government policy, these numbers guide critical choices that affect millions. Whether the news is good or bad, the BLS's job is to report it accurately. The agency's commitment to truth ensures that everyone has access to the same reliable information. This commitment to neutrality is a fragile but vital pillar of democracy. Without unbiased data, public trust in economic decisions would quickly erode. The BLS ensures America's economic health is measured with a consistent, reliable yardstick, one that helps everyone, from leaders to citizens, make informed decisions about the future. In the summer of 2025, a disappointing jobs report sent shockwaves through Washington, rattling both politicians and the public. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported only 73,000 new jobs in July, far below what economists and the White House had anticipated, fueling immediate concern about the health of the economy. To make matters worse, job gains from the previous 2 months were sharply revised downward, erasing much of the optimism that had been building. President Trump, now in his second term and eager to project economic strength ahead of the midterms, was furious at the negative headlines. Instead of questioning policy or economic fundamentals, he turned his anger toward the BLS and its commissioner, Erica McIntarfer, accusing them of manipulating the data to make him look bad. Without providing any evidence, Trump claimed the agency was working against his administration, fueling conspiracy theories and sowing distrust. In August, in a move that stunned Washington, Trump fired McIntarfer, midway through her protected 4-year term, breaking with decades of precedent. The decision sent shockwaves through the economic and statistical communities. Economists and statisticians saw it as a direct attack on the agency's independence and a threat to the integrity of government data. The BLS's deputy commissioner, William Wietrowski, stepped in as acting head. But the damage to the agency's reputation and morale was already done. The firing shattered a long-standing norm. BLS commissioners are not supposed to be removed for political reasons, ensuring the agency's work remains impartial and credible. Suddenly, the agency's credibility was in question, and Americans began to wonder if they could still trust the numbers that shape economic policy. The White House now had the opportunity to appoint a new leader, one who might be more willing to shape the numbers to fit the administration's narrative, raising fears of politicized data. The decision would reveal just how far the administration was willing to go to control the nation's economic story, and whether any agency was truly safe from political interference. The firing of McIntarfer was a warning shot to other independent agencies, signaling that their autonomy could be at risk if their work displeased those in power. The question on everyone's mind became, who would Trump pick next, and would that person protect the agency's mission or bend to political pressure? The answer would test the very foundation of the BLS's integrity, and set a precedent for the future of independent government agencies in America. In September 2025, the White House nominated EJAntoni, a Heritage Foundation economist, to lead the BLS. Antoni was known for his conservative commentary and skepticism of official government data. Unlike previous commissioners, he lacked deep experience in federal statistics and had publicly criticized the BLS's methods. Just weeks before, Antoni suggested suspending monthly jobs reports, a radical break from tradition. His nomination signaled the administration's intent to overhaul the agency and challenge its long-standing practices. Antoni's nomination triggered fierce opposition from economists, statisticians, and even some Republicans. Critics argued he was a partisan, not a neutral fact-finder, and feared he'd pressure staff to alter or delay reports for political gain. Key Republican senators, including Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, refused to meet with him, a clear sign of trouble. Antoni's lack of technical experience and history of attacking BLS data were seen as disqualifying. The context was impossible to ignore. He was nominated right after Trump fired McIntyre for inconvenient numbers. Many saw this as an attempt to turn the BLS into a political tool. The fear: the agency's credibility would be destroyed, and economic data would become just another partisan battleground. For critics, this was about defending the foundation of evidence-based policymaking. Despite the backlash, Antoni had strong support among conservatives and Trump allies. They argued the BLS was out of touch and needed an outsider to shake things up. Supporters pointed to real challenges, like declining survey response rates, as proof the agency needed reform. Antoni's skepticism, they said, reflected genuine problems, not just partisanship. The Heritage Foundation and other groups framed the opposition as resistance from an elite establishment. For them, Antoni's nomination was about disruption and accountability. They believed only an outsider could force the agency to modernize and better reflect the real economy. In their eyes, the risk of politicization was less than the risk of maintaining a flawed status quo. Critics warned that Antoni's appointment would undermine the BLS's core value nonpartisan credibility. They argued his background as a political commentator made him unfit for a technical, impartial role. Running the BLS requires expertise in survey design and statistical modeling, skills Antoni lacked. The timing was alarming. Trump had just fired McIntyre for negative data, then nominated a loyalist. This looked like an attempt to guarantee favorable numbers, not improve the agency. Injecting politics into the BLS, critics said, would shatter the wall between facts and spin. The consequences could be dire. Markets and the public would lose trust in official data. Businesses couldn't plan, and democracy would lose a common set of facts. The case against Antoni was about protecting the integrity of government statistics. Some institutions, they argued, must remain above politics, and the BLS is one of them. Antoni's nomination was further damaged by a social media scandal. Investigators uncovered a deleted X, formerly Twitter account linked to Antoni, filled with offensive and inflammatory posts. The account included misogynistic attacks on Vice President Kamala Harris and homophobic remarks, raising serious questions about his judgment. Antoni had also promoted conspiracy theories, alarming for a nominee to lead the nation's top fact-finding agency. Reports surfaced that he was present at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, which the White House downplayed. The revelations shifted the debate from his qualifications to his character. For many senators, confirming Antoni became politically impossible. By late September 2025, Antoni's nomination was doomed. The Senate Help Committee never scheduled a hearing, signaling the nomination was dead. Key Republican senators refused to support him, making confirmation impossible. Facing certain defeat, the White House withdrew Antoni's nomination on September 30th. The administration avoided mentioning the scandals, instead praising Antoni and promising continued reform at the BLS. Antoni returned to the Heritage Foundation, still advocating for change. The failed nomination put the conservative critique of the BLS in the spotlight. The battle over Antoni was over, but the fight over the agency's future was just beginning. The episode left the BLS's independence in the political crosshairs. The question of who controls America's economic data remained unresolved. The Antoni saga is more than just a political drama. It's a story about the foundation of trust in our institutions, and how easily that foundation can be shaken. In a world where information is everywhere, the credibility of the source matters more than ever. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, provides the shared facts that shape national debates, guide economic decisions, and influence the direction of our country. Its data is the backbone for policymakers, businesses, and families alike. If Americans, or the world, begin to believe that this data is manipulated or politically tainted, trust evaporates almost instantly. The consequences ripple far beyond Washington. That loss of trust could trigger market chaos, undermine the Federal Reserve's credibility, and turn every jobs report into a partisan battleground, where facts are doubted and uncertainty reigns. The fixed term for the BLS commissioner exists for a reason: to shield the agency from political interference and ensure its work remains impartial, no matter who is in power. Trump's firing of McIntyre and Antoni's controversial nomination put that safeguard to the test, raising questions about the limits of executive power and the resilience of our systems. The system bent under pressure, but bipartisan opposition and a wave of public outcry showed that some lines, even in turbulent times, can't be crossed without consequences. The credibility of the BLS matters to every American. It affects jobs, paychecks, mortgages, and savings. Its numbers touch daily life in ways most people never realize. The Antoni episode was a warning. Trust in public institutions is fragile, and once lost, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. Defending the independence of agencies like the BLS isn't just a bureaucratic concern. It's essential for democracy and for the public's faith in government. The facts must remain above politics, protected from manipulation, so that everyone can rely on them, no matter their beliefs. The BLS's quiet, diligent work underpins the nation's economic health, providing the data that keeps our economy running and our democracy informed. Vigilance is needed, by officials, journalists, and citizens alike, to protect the integrity of the facts we all depend on, and to ensure that trust, once earned, is never taken for granted.